This is Junk Drawer, aka JD. Welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. UKI softer EV sales mandate. Story by Elijah Nicholson Meshmere. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. UK government is all ears to automaker grievances over its EV sales mandate. Companies have 8 weeks to submit comments to the government on its zero-emission vehicle sales quotas, which many automakers have struggled to hit. The mandate is set to eliminate the sale of all ICE vehicles by 2030. Let me put it this way, this is my opinion. That's not going to happen. They're already pushing back to 2040 to allow hybrid cars to be sold still, I think, with incremental EV sales quotes leading up to the deadline to try and smooth the transition. This year, 22% of all new cars and 10% of new vans sold this year are to be electric, but automakers are already falling short of the government goals. Anyone that needs a van, EVs don't work for a van. A hybrid with the same size engine that they have now, so if they got a V6 for a small van and then they hybridize that, then that can work for them. But not these EVs for electric vans. It doesn't work for that consumer. People don't understand in the government that people that have vans have to go from work, pick up supplies, get their crew, drive to the job site. And when they get to the job site, work for a while, then they're going to need more supplies or get another crewmate or go get lunch for the crew and then drive and then do the reverse and go pick up some more stuff for another job or for the next day. There's so much driving a van. And then if it's a delivery van, forget about it. It does not work unless it's in the city, small deliveries, short burst runs, and they have time in between to hook up at that facility's station because it's so hard to get to a charging station in the city. If they don't, it doesn't work. Industry pushback on EV targets. Despite heavy discounts, electric vehicles accounted for just 18.7% of UK car sales from January to November. Automakers warn that without changes, the mandate could stifle growth and lead to job losses. It already has. Credits for hybrid sales have helped companies meet targets, but executives argue that the consumer adoption of EVs remains slow. The reason for the adoption remaining slow is because when people purchase an EV or a hybrid and then they realize that it doesn't fit their daily life and their neighbors ask, "How's your EV?" or "How's your hybrid?" and they tell them, "Oh, I just went, take the kids to school, go to work, pick up the kids, go to the store, and I'm already out of a charge and I can't do anything else after that." And then so their neighbor thinks, that's not for me, which it most likely won't be. There's a good chance that it's not going to be for their neighbor either. And then that person has a bad experience or a bad view on EVs and hybrids, where the person driving an EV would have been better with a hybrid. It's almost like the government needs to set up a thing where people can get a loan electric vehicle or a hybrid vehicle in the shape, size, and model that they need. You need a website to set up where people can go ahead and get these vehicles for a week to see if they fits their daily life. So if they think a full electric vehicle will work for them, then they get this electric vehicle for a week. I think that would be better because it's not going to work. This is not going to work. I honestly think that these mandates will be dropped in 5, 6 years, maybe 10. All these mandates, they're going to be dropped because the job losses are just ridiculous. They need to set up a website explaining what the EV does, what the hybrid does, which vehicle is best for them, and then allow them to get a week free rental of a hybrid and an EV. Now, some people are like, oh, people are just going to abuse it and they're going to use the 1 week of the EV and the 1 week of the hybrid, and then they're not going to buy any car. Okay, fine. Then after that, they don't get a second chance to rent those vehicles. You fill out the information, exactly what car you need, what's your distance and your mileage, your average distance you're driving, and then it says, okay, try this EV or try this hybrid. And just allow those two. And once you do two of those rentals, stop. They can't do it again. That would be a better option to hopefully get people into EVs or get them into the hybrids. So that way they know it works for them. The fact is, we are building them, but they aren't coming in significant numbers to buy, said Mike Hawes, CEO of the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Trade. Vauxhall, owner Stellantis, recently announced plans to close its van factory in Luton, affecting 1,100 jobs. The company cited EV regulations as a factor, shifting production to its Elmer's port facility. Ford has also reduced its UK workforce, pointing to lackluster EV sales as a key driver. Also here in the US, Ford has also stopped production, closed down a plant, and reduced the production numbers and completely stopped production on their EV trucks and SUVs and vans. Revisiting the 2030 goal, the government remains committed to phasing out the sale of new gasoline and diesel vehicles by 2030. That's not going to happen. Honestly, that will not happen. They're already struggling to make these sales, and it's not even looking good either. And other businesses are closing down facilities, lines, and firing people and laying off people. It is reviewing support measures for manufacturers and considering adjustments, such as extending the sales window for some hybrids until 2035. Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander said that the consultation aims to provide the auto industry with clarity and support. Over the last few years, our automotive industry has been stifled by lack of certainty and direction. Alexander said in a statement, this government will change that. Yeah, there's a problem with that. The father company basically of Jaguar Land Rover is Tata Motors. And Jaguar had that whole debacle with their Type 00, that horrible all electric, not even a production car because it says it even on their video in fine print. This is a prototype, it's not a production vehicle. But yet someone in Land Rover, Range Rover, they make Range Rovers at Land Rover, they produce the frames, the frames that the vehicles sit on, and they are designing not this refresh, which is due in 3 years, give or take, which will put it in 2030. The 2033 refresh, they're designing the diesel and gasoline frame. You do not do that and spend that money if you don't know something, which these EVs and these hybrids are not being adopted, and the government has probably already told them we're going to push back even further. My honest opinion, maybe 2050 is when hybrids will get phased out. But I don't think that's a good idea. I think we should still have ICE vehicles, should still have hybrids, and I don't think EVs are the solution to this situation. Their goals are not going to achieve them. That's just me, my opinion, but it's not working out. And when people that buy these vehicles that don't work for them, they don't want another one. Some people are even buying new vehicles that can afford it, that are gas powered, and they're maintaining them and they're driving them very little. There are even people out there that are buying two and three of the same vehicle they like, brand new, and what they do is they'll drive. It's almost like they have one for every day of the week. The reason is to reduce the wear and tear on the vehicles, but keep them running because most vehicles do need to be on the road and running. And a lot of other people are just buying used cars and they're just going to buy used gasoline cars. And when this mandate happens, they're going to stifle the growth of the economy never seen before because most people can't afford a new vehicle. Look at all the new vehicles that are on lots right now. Before you couldn't find one because of component constraints, COVID. Now lots are overflowing with good vehicles. The other problem is they also have overpriced vehicles and vehicles no one can afford. $100,000 Jeep Wagoneer. Who's going to spend $100,000 plus on a Jeep Wagoneer when you can go buy a Range Rover for that money? I wouldn't. I'd rather go buy the Range Rover than a Jeep Wagoneer. Plain and simple. Consumers' reluctance to embrace EVs. Automakers have spent billions on discounts, yet consumers remain hesitant. They should set up a website, and like I said earlier in this article, when I was talking about not rent, you get two vehicles for 1 week each, one hybrid, one full EV to see if it fits your needs. Analysts point to the concerns over charging infrastructure, vehicle range, and affordability. The Energy and Climate Intelligence Unit estimates that meeting future targets will require an unprecedented surge in EV adoption. You already have a problem. Last year and this year, you were having power outages in the UK, and the government was telling people not to charge their vehicles at key hours that everyone charges their vehicles. And they told them don't charge because the power grid cannot handle it. How are you going to handle all these EVs and all these hybrids? At least with a hybrid, you can charge your vehicle while driving. This makes no sense, and it's even proving it to themselves. Literally, they're doing this and they're proving it to themselves. Through November of this year, EV registrations have increased by nearly 18% in the United Kingdom, far better than average across Europe, according to European Automobile Manufacturers Association. But it appears even above average growth isn't enough to meet government current sales quotes. Of course not. It's just not going to happen. And it's not just me. I'm not against EVs. I'm not against hybrids. I honestly think a hybrid is a better option. One, you're using a quarter to half the size of a battery. Two, they need to build the cars, and it's like with these small little punchy turbocharged engines. You used to have a 2-liter naturally aspirated engine in a vehicle, and then you go and put a 1-liter turbocharged engine, and its life is not going to last. You need to go back to a 2-liter, turbocharge it, where it sits, it's a solid 2-liter, but it can handle 2.4, so that way you have the power, the torque, and the fuel efficiency. And manufacturers can easily make that turbocharged engine more fuel efficient than making it for performance. Here's a thought. Hybrid EV 2.4-liter electric turbo to push till the large turbo kicks in. You're already going to make this a hybrid. Why not just add that little extra to make it better? Final thoughts. Although the UK government has not yet made any changes to its current sales quotes, the consultation is a clear concession that its current goals may not be aligned with market realities. You don't say. As the country strives to balance ambitious climate goals with consumer preferences, it's not preferences. I know the writer is trying to be, kind of middle ground. It's not preferences. It's just what actually works, what's functional for a person, the consumer. For a certain consumer, EVs work. Other consumers, hybrids work. And most consumers, it's only going to be gasoline, ICE vehicles, diesel or gas. The outcome will shape the future of EV adoption and industrial growth. There is no growth. It's already proven that there is no growth. 1,100 jobs were lost in the UK alone from those manufacturers. In the US, we're losing tens of thousands of jobs across the board because of EVs. The consultation closes on February 18th of 2025, leaving automakers limited time to make their case for a revised path forward. Like I said, this is allegedly. Someone at Land Rover, they produced a Range Rover, they're making the third update frame with gasoline and diesel options. So you don't do that unless you know something. Basically, they see the writing on the wall. Gasoline vehicles and diesel vehicles are not going anywhere. Thank you for making it this far, and if you have, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Leave down in the comments below your thoughts on this article and on EVs and on hybrids themselves. And do you own an EV or hybrid? And does it suit your life? And do you still own a gasoline vehicle to take care of other tasks? Let me know down below. I also have a GoFundMe link down below to help me get new equipment for a new laptop. When you can help out, it'd be much appreciated if you can help me out with my GoFundMe and to get a new laptop. As always, like, subscribe, and share. And thank you. See you on the next one.